Yo, what is up everyone? This is OJ over here from PlayerEssence and welcome to another Nintendo NX video. I know I said that I was going to get away from just doing straight rumor videos and have more news put in, but this one is multifaceted and I actually want to discuss some of the things in this rumor as it pertains just to the normal games and the stuff that's in it. So please do not take it as if I'm going away from that format. What I'm doing with this video is just typically talking or just basically talking about all this stuff in there and some of my memories and some of the stuff pertaining to that. So hopefully you see it as more as just a rumor video and more of a discussion as a fan of gaming. So let's go ahead and get right into this content here. Of course, this comes from my boy on Twitter, 10K. So once again, grains of salt, guys. He even says it here. But let's have a discussion as gaming fans more so than an actual rumor video. But that's really the reason why sometimes I like rumors like this, is because we can talk about these games, we can talk about the origins of what they came from and what it would mean to the gaming community more so than whether it's right or wrong. Just bringing up fantastic gaming discussions for videos like this. So let's go ahead and get into the first thing here. And some of this stuff is kind of, yeah, it's probably going to happen and has been rumored before and has been heavily hinted before by actual factual game announcements and stuff like that. So you'll see when I go over this whole list. So number one, Bandai Namco will have several games in the launch period for NX. Allegedly, one of them is a redo of Tales of Symphonia, but based on the GameCube version at 1080p 60 frames per second. So I first want to talk about this one. This is something that, yeah, it's probably going to happen. Bandai Namco has had multiple job listings when it comes to working with Nintendo, has had a fantastic relationship with Nintendo. Nintendo really trusts them when it comes to certain things. They made the Project Treasure game, or what was it? I forgot what that free-to-play game that they renamed it something, Souls of the Reavers, or whatever the case that game was. They made that. They also helped make Super Smash Bros. For Wii U and Nintendo 3DS, and it does seem like Bandai Namco is going to start putting some games on the Nintendo NX. But the big juiciest thing about that is Tales of Symphonia. Now, and if you remember, Tales of Symphonia on the GameCube, that is the highest selling Tales game of all time, basically. It's the best selling one. Nintendo and Bandai Namco teamed up to make that game a success on the GameCube, especially when it hit the player's choice for $20 back in the day. The sales really expanded. So if they're going to make Tales of Symphonia at 1080p 60 frames per second, why not? I don't think that would be too far of a stretch. The game is quite old, and I'm not sure how it would be today. I've seen the Tales of Symphonia remakes. I think there's one on like PC or the GameCube version at 1080p 60 frames per second. I think there's one on like PS3. Not sure how it would be in today's day, so I don't know about that. But I do feel that, yeah, I mean, it could happen based on just the fan support of that game. The fan support of that game is very high, so potentially that could happen, but we have to wait and see on that one. Number two, I think it's definitely happened. Square Enix has several games in development for NX beyond what's been announced. So what they've announced is Dragon Quest X and they've announced Dragon Quest XI. Those are the two games that they've basically announced for the Nintendo NX that are coming. And yes, if they're putting those two games on there, I do feel that we're going to get the slew, the onslaught of Nintendo NX as far as PS4, Xbox One games coming to the Nintendo NX. I do think Square Enix is going to put stuff out there. Final Fantasy 15, maybe. That game got delayed to November. It wouldn't be too much more of a delay until the March release. So I do feel that, yes, Square Enix will be putting their games on there. I know there's been hinting at Dragon Quest Builders coming to Nintendo NX as well. I can see more because Square Enix, especially with this generation, is having problems selling their games on the Xbox One. That is not a secret or anything like that. They've been doing all sorts of stuff like putting games out on PS3, PS Vita, PC, and various other platforms because the Xbox platform is just not as strong for them as it was with last generation with some of the games that they've came out. So I do think to offset costs to help out, several Square Enix games will be coming to Nintendo NX just because there is a little bit of deficiency when it comes to sales, and we'll see how Final Fantasy 15 sells on the Xbox One as well. Next, Baten Kaitos is getting remakes with new voice acting on the Nintendo NX. So I've talked about this before, how Nintendo needs to reinvigorate this franchise, or just basically bring back this dead franchise from the GameCube. It pretty much skipped the Wii era, and there hasn't been anything else to skip the Wii U era, and I do think that Nintendo needs to do this. Do I think it will happen? I don't know. I'm really less than 50-50 on it, to be honest, just because Baten Kaitos is just an older franchise. I'm not sure where Nintendo's going with it. who would make that game? Obviously, it would be Monolith Soft. They're the people that originally worked on it with Bandai Namco, and I think the people who made the Star Ocean, like the Star Ocean 4 and all that, Tri-Ace, and then like another developer too that works along with Tri-Ace. So I think they're the original creators of that just generally, but Nintendo obviously helped publish it and things like that. So we'll have to wait and see. I think that Monolith Soft is probably working on another Xenoblade type of game with more of a mix between Xenoblade 1 and Xenoblade Chronicles X. That story progression in addition to the scales and open world, I think that's what they want to do next. Just because they had some regrets with Xenoblade Chronicles X. So I don't know if they'd be working on that type of game like a Baten Kaitos game. Maybe it's in the decks, maybe it's in the works at some point, it's on the plate, but it would be after their next Xenoblade game. So that's what I think is happening there, but once again, it's a rumor. Number 4, Virtual Console for NX will be based on the NES Classic emulator. I don't really care about this at all, so I'm just not really going to have any comment on it. Number 5, Nintendo may have just bought an established IP. Not sure which it is yet, doing more investigating. So an established IP from where? Established IP from who? I mean, is it from Capcom? Is it from... Where do they buy this established IP? Nintendo is not known for doing those things. Could it generally be a game that they work with someone else, a third-party developer that they purchased? Who knows? You know, it would be really cool if they bought Bayonetta. But I doubt that would happen at all, so we're just going to have to wait and see on that one. And number 6, Nintendo is reviving a canceled Mistwalker game on the Xbox 360. It's called Cry On. So this game is very interesting, and I do think that there could be some type of truth to this rumor, because it was rumored a while ago that Nintendo was working with Mistwalker after the last story, that Nintendo was working with Mistwalker on a game for Wii U, but that game never materialized. Like, what happened to that? One of the producers for, I think it was the last story, said, yeah, we definitely are going to have something planned, or we're going to be working with Nintendo in the future, and many people thought that would be a Wii U game, but I think maybe due to the really poor and trash sales of the Wii U, that never materialized. But could it materialize on the Nintendo NX with this game called Cry On? Now, Nintendo is known for reviving games from the dead. They did it with Bayonetta 2. They did it with Devil's Third. They've been known to do that. So could they do this with this game Cry On from Mistwalker, which was supposed to come out on the Xbox 360 years ago? So we will see on that one. I think there's some truth to this. There could be something in the works, because where has Mistwalker's games been? Obviously, Microsoft and Sony aren't really working with Mistwalker anymore, or we would have had a Lost Odyssey 2 at this point. So there's been no Lost Odyssey. Obviously, I don't think there's anything in the works with the Xbox platform and with Mistwalker. So where does Mistwalker go next? I know that they had a console iteration of their game Terra Battle that's supposed to be coming at some point, but we haven't really seen that. And we do know that Nintendo has worked most recently with Mistwalker. So can this happen? Oh, I definitely think this can happen, and you guys are checking out that Cry On game it's been playing. So who knows with this one? But overall, I think some of these rumors are kind of, you know, logical. They make sense, especially number 1 and number 2 with Bandai Namco and Square Enix. I definitely think that is, yeah, that's probably going to happen. Some of these other ones, 3 through 6, not so much, but we still have to wait and see. But I do think that this is fantastic discussion, guys. These are awesome stuff to talk about, especially ones like number 1 and number 2. I think that's really cool, and even like number 6 with Mistwalker, because really, I think there's something there, because we do know that Nintendo was going to work with them further than the last story, and the last story was one of the most successful games that Mistwalker has ever put out. It made them money. I know the publisher that picked it up here in America was very happy. I think it was one of their most successful games. So yeah, I definitely think there could be something in the works there and something lined up. So let me know what you guys think about these rumors here. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Also, make sure you hit that like button if you did like this video. Let me know you guys want more content like this going forward in the future, and subscribe to PlayerEssence for more news, reviews, trailers, tips, and tricks, and everything in gaming. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you for the next video. Peace.